Hello guys, today we'll be starting section 2.4, subtracting integers with tiles. So take a second, pause the video, and write down that title for today. Okay, you should have that written down by now, and we're going to move on. So just a quick review, follow along. Remember that when we have a yellow tile, that represents a positive 1, and the red tile represents a negative 1. If you have the two of them together, they cancel out and make 0. Okay, we're going to be using that today, so just a little reminder of that. Okay, another little review. Just follow along. I want you to ask yourself, what integer does this set of tiles make? What integer does this make? Okay, so by now you should be able to look at that and give me the answer. Okay, so just take a second, look at that, see if you can get it. Alright, now let's do it together. So we see we have 4 yellow tiles and 1 red tile. So 4 positive, 1 red. Okay, and we see we have a pair here. So like we talked about before and just then, when we have a yellow and red pair, they can cancel out. So I got my stick here to cancel them out. So we cancel out that pair. What do we have left? We have 1, 2, 3 tiles left, and they're yellow tiles. So we have 3 positive tiles left. So that integer should make positive 3. You guys should be really familiar with that now. And if not, please pause the video and ask a buddy for for help, or ask me if I'm available. Okay, if not, if you got the right answer, that's great. Let's move on. Okay, so this is another quick review. Just follow along. This is talking about adding, addition, what sum. Okay, so we're going to add our tiles, add our integers, positive and negative numbers. So what sum does this set of tiles model? Write the addition equation. Okay, just follow along here. Okay, you should be able to look at this now and give me an answer. Okay, we're going to do it step by step together now. Alright, so what do we have? We want to write the addition equation and answer it. So we have 1, 2, 3 yellow tiles, so positive 3. So we're going to have positive 3. Plus, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 negative tiles, or red tiles. So that's positive 3 plus negative 4. So what does that give us? To put those together, we cancel out our yellow and red pairs. So this 1 here will cancel out. 1 here. Okay, we have a pair here, although they're not lined up, but we can still cancel it for every 1 yellow tile we have, or positive tile we have, and every 1 negative tile we have. We can match them up and cancel them out, and that leaves us with just 1 red tile. So 1 negative tile, negative 1. Okay, and that's what you guys should know up to date now. Alright, so we're going to talk about something new today. We're going to talk about subtracting tiles. So using tiles to help with subtraction. Okay, so first of all, just ask yourself, and you can just follow along here, what integer does this make? Okay, so if I was to look at this and say what integer it is, I'd start canceling out my pairs. So we got yellow and red, yellow and red, yellow and red, yellow and red. Okay, so how many tiles do we have left over? We have no tiles left over. So what integer does this make? 0. Okay, so I'm just going to remove my canceling out sticks. So let's move them over. Now, if I asked you, you had 0 tiles, because this is what this represents. You have 0. And then I asked you to take away negative 1. Okay, so taking away, before we used to add tiles in. Today I'm going to ask you to take them away. So I'm going to just circle one of my negative tiles, because we're taking away -1. Okay, so here I picked out my negative tile, and I'm going to take it away. Alright, so I'm actually just going to delete it. There we go. So this is what I'm left with. So again, I'll bring up my canceling sticks. We had 0 at first, then we took away a -1 tile. -1 tile. And now we're left with a +1 tile. So that is our answer. That's just a typo there. Okay, so we're left with +1. Alright, if you have any questions, pause the video and ask a friend to help you out, or an older student. Or if I'm available, make sure you ask me any questions. Alright, when you're ready, I want you to write this down. Write this example down, and we're going to do this one together. Alright, so pause the video, write this down, make sure you draw out your tiles, and when you're ready, come on back. Okay, so by now you should have all of this written down. Here, we start with +3 tiles. Okay, so before I move on to the next part of the question, we look down here. What do we have? What does this represent? We have a lot of tiles, but we have some yellow and red pairs here. So we can cancel them out. Okay, so really we got 1, 2, 3 positive tiles. Alright, so what do we get if we subtract -2 tiles? Alright, so I'm going to move our canceling sticks out of the way. Okay, so you can see we started with +3. I got it written out in math form here, and we're going to subtract -2 tiles. So we're going to take 2 of these tiles, and I'm just going to highlight them here. Let's take the 2 of those, and we're going to move them out of the way. Okay, and I'm just going to delete them. Alright, so we had +3, and now we took away 2 negative tiles. +3 subtract -2. Okay, what do we have left? Just count your tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what color are they? They're yellow, so they're positive. So we got 5 positive as our answer. Okay, just take a second to make sure you understand that. Ask any questions if you need to. Okay, so moving on. I want you to write this down. This is going to be another example we're going to do together. And we're going to use tiles to subtract. So write it down. Write this part here down. Press pause until you have that written down. And when you come back, we're going to put our tiles up and use the tiles to subtract. Okay, so let's give this one a try. So this is our first steps to do this one. We have +5 minus +2. So our first step is to put up this number in tiles. So +5. Whoops. One second there. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so +5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we represented this number with tiles. And we use the yellow tiles because we have +5. Okay, so now we're going to take away +2. So we're going to take 2 positive tiles and we're going to take them away. So 1, 2. I'm just going to go and delete them. Okay, so if you're drawing that in your notebook, you can have your tiles there, and you can just draw a circle around them with an arrow, or you can just cross them out. Either way, just represent that your tiles are being subtracted. Okay, so circle around them and an arrow out. So what are we left with? 1, 2, 3 positive tiles. So positive 5 minus positive 2 is positive 3. And we know that. If we just not think about the positive and negatives, if we just say 5 minus 2, we know the answer is 3. So that's a nice, easy example to get started. Okay? So I want you to write down that example we just done. Make sure you draw your tiles. Make sure you draw 5. And then represent 2 of them being taken away. So you would have to draw this first, 5. Then you draw your circle around them. And you draw your arrow being taken away. Okay, when you have that drawn out, just pause the video if you need a second. When you have that drawn out, we're going to move on to the next one. Okay, another example, and I want you to write this down again. So use tiles to subtract. Alright, this one's going to have a little extra step. It's going to be a little bit harder. So plus 4 minus minus 1. So plus 4 minus a negative 1. And it's going to be a bit harder because we're subtracting a negative number. So here's the trick for doing that. Okay. Again, I have to set up my tiles. There we go. Okay, so we first represent the first number here. So positive 4. So we have to move up positive 4 or 4 yellow tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. So your next step is to look at what you're subtracting. So you're taking away a negative 1. But if you look down, we don't have a negative tile here to take away. Okay, so what do you do to fix that? Well, if we don't have one there, we'll move one up. However, you can't just move any tiles in. Once you get this number represented, you can't change it as positive 4. So right now, we don't have positive 4 represented anymore. This negative number changes what's represented here. Okay, so if you move the red tile up, which we need to do so that we can take it away, okay, if you move a red one up, you have to move a yellow one up. And why are we allowed to do that? We're allowed to do that because, really, they just equal 0. And you can put 0 onto your integers and it won't change the answer. And we know that because this was positive 1, negative 1, it cancels out. So if we go back to our problem, okay, we added the red tile, but we added another yellow one. If we look again, do we still have positive 4? Yes, because these cancel out. Okay, so see, I've canceled it. We still have positive 4. So we haven't changed our starting number. We haven't changed that. We've just put these extra tiles in so that I can take away a negative 1. Okay, so plus 4, we have that. Take away a negative 1. So we need to take this red one away because it's our negative. So circle that one in your books and draw an arrow. We're taking that one away. So if that one's taken away, what are we left with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're left with plus 5. So plus 4, positive 4, minus a negative 1 equals positive 5. Okay, so take a second, make sure you write that down. Don't worry, that may be a little bit confusing where we're adding tiles in to subtract, but we're going to do a lot of examples now to make sure you got it down pat. Okay, so pause the video if you need to and ask any questions if you need to. If not, let's move on. Okay, so use tiles to subtract. We're going to do the same thing again. So, again, first step, and make sure you write this down. Pause the video until you have it written down. And then when you come back, we'll use our tiles. Okay, first step, again, is to represent this first number, this first integer. So we have -2. So what's minus, my yellow or my red? Okay, so it's red. So -2. So, okay, I have to do this again. Get my tiles ready. Okay, so -2, -1, -2. Right on. So then we're asked to take away, subtract a +1, but we don't have a +1 in our up here yet to take away. So what do? We can bring up a +1, but if we bring up a yellow tile, we have to bring up a red tile. Okay, we have to add them on in pairs. Because if you look, here, it still represents -2. -1, -2. Okay, so we're still starting with the same number, but we've just put some tiles up there so we can do this. Take away a +1. So here's our +1. We're going to circle it, and we're going to take it away. Okay, and once we do that, we see what are we left with. Make sure you write this down in your book. We're left with, and I'll delete it to make it easy, we're left with 1, 2, 3. We're left with 3 negative tiles, or -3. Okay, make sure you write that out in your exercise book, and you have the example there, and make sure you show that you're taking away the positive. Okay, next example. Use tiles to subtract again. So this time we have -1 take away -4. So we got -1 take away -4. Alright, so we're taking away, we're working with 2 negative numbers. So first step, like always, represent your first number. -1, that is a red tile. So we're going to move our red tile up. Alright, so we need to take away 4 negative tiles, but we don't have 4 tiles to take away. Alright, so we're going to bring them up. So we brought a red one up, but if you bring a red one up, you need to bring a yellow one up. If you bring a negative, you need to bring up the positive as well. So 1, 2, we have to bring up our yellow one. 3, okay, and we have to bring up our yellow one. Alright, so now, do we have 4 tiles here to take away? Yes, so we don't need to bring up any more. We're trying to take away 4. We have 4 here. Okay, so I'm going to circle the 4 tiles we're taking away. Alright, so here's our 4 tiles. And we're going to take those away. And then what are we left with once we take those away? We're left with 1, 2, 3 positive tiles. So our answer should be +3. Make sure you write that down. Pause if you have any questions. If you're really having trouble, make sure you get my attention and ask me for help so I can straighten everything up. Alright? If you're good, let's just move on. Last example for today. Alright, I want you to try this one by yourself before we go through it together. You still have to write it down, but I want you to write it down, use your tiles, and give me an answer. When you're ready, press play, come back, and we'll see if you got the correct answer. Okay, you should have this one answered by now. Let's give it a try. So use tiles to subtract. So first step, like always, let's represent our first number. We have positive 5. Get our tiles ready. Okay, positive 5 is 5 yellow. 1, 2, 3, whoops, 4, 5. Okay, and we need to take away a negative 1, but we don't have a negative 1 here to take away. So what do? We can bring one up or draw one in. But if you bring a red one up out of nowhere, you got to bring a yellow one up with it. Okay, now we take away our negative 1, so circle your negative 1. Take it away. What are we left with? Okay, so this is gone, this red one, so we're left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So positive 6 is our answer. Alright, hopefully now you guys all got that. If not, ask a friend for help or ask an older student to help you out. And once you wrap your head around that, you're ready to work on some practice work. So I want you guys to work on page 69 to 70, number 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So that's odd numbers there. 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So good luck with the practice work, and make sure you get help if you need it.